Today, I'm going to go over a few different sort of topics. I'm going to go over what I've learnt so far this bull run and what I would take into the next one when it happens, for example. I will also go over like what you should be doing when it comes to news, research, jumping in, taking action, those sorts of things. I'm not saying what you should be doing, like I know what to do, but what I've sort of learned, you could say, or what I've picked up, what I've read from the charts as a result of it. So yeah, let's just start from the obvious one, which is this this bull run. I believe we're still in for a massive pump. We've got the only reason the markets are down right now is primarily because of tariffs, US tariffs, what Trump has been doing. He has given us the biggest pump in crypto as well as a giant dump in crypto as well in the space of what, 3 months. So it's quite astounding what he's done and what he's achieved in that short space of time for markets. But you know, a lot of uncertainty with these tariffs has led to the downfall of the markets at the moment. But like I mentioned in the other video last week, we've got things coming. We've got QE that's starting soon. We've got rate cuts. The money supply is going up. These sorts of things. That is what drives risk on again. And for people who are saying the bull run's over, the bull run really only takes effect when those things actually start. We've not even had the peak bull run yet because of that. We've had momentum pumps because of what, the ETFs, the election, you could argue inauguration pump as well when he finally got in office. Of course, that was our all-time high. And since then, we've come down. I'm not going to go through the entire story. You all know what happened after that. I just touched on it briefly as well. So we've not had the actual bull market yet because of the liquidity pump and debt creation. We've not had it yet. That's what is frustrating to see. People in the communities I'm in. I'm in a few different communities. I say a few, meaning like I'm quite a few where I can pick up what the sentiment is, like I mentioned before as well. But to see people sell and actively say they've sold and that they're holding 100% in what, stables, or just sold out completely into their bank, and it's just like you're selling, you're capitulating at the worst time possible, and if you were to get back in later, that is the worst example of it. Because there's a lot of these people that the communities I'm in that I see people, they are pump chasers. Now, I used to be one. I think we all have been one. And this leads me to my next point as well. So, but going back to that, they will come back when Bitcoin's at 100K. And they're like, oh, I shouldn't have sold. It's like, yeah, oh, no shit, Sherlock, you shouldn't have. And a lot of these people as well, I hate to rant. Well, I like to rant, but I don't mean to rant right now. A lot of these people, they're the most doom and gloom people when it comes to what they believe is right. And it's like, oh, the bull run's over. Trump, he's sabotaged everything, which is true, but in a sense where they're just giving themselves more confirmation to execute their decision, or give sort of confirmation as to why they've done the decision they've had, which is to sell, which ultimately is going to be regrettable. And it's obviously, at the end of the day, it's up to you what you do with your finances and whether or not you want to take the risk or not. But going into crypto and being in crypto for, I would say, a year or more, you should know the risk factors involved. You should know bull markets, bear markets, drawdowns, corrections, pullbacks, those sorts of things you should know. And especially being in it for quite a while in some of these communities. So that leads me to my next sort of point, which is when people start to sort of chase pumps or news related pumps. Yeah. So what do I mean by that? What do I mean? So let's say, for example, I'm in Jupiter, which is a project, and the other parallel project to Jupiter, you could say, is Radium, right? They're both, one's a DEX aggregator and one's the actual DEX, but they both offer the service, right? They both, that's the project. If one project of those two, if one of those projects gets a big piece of news, which Radium got yesterday, it's not big, but this is just an example, okay? So Radium said that they're going to be launching what Pump.Fun has, which is like a launch thing, and this is in this is all this is to counter what Pump.Fun did the other month, which is offer what Radium do, which is an AMM. And the only reason Radium got a little pump yesterday, and this is only an example, is because of that news. And now it went up over $2, right? It went up to $2.10 from $1.60. It is now come back down to 180, right? Or 181. Who knows? It could continue going higher, but that's the example. If you saw the news and you got in late to that, and say, for example, you rotated your Jupiter bag or some of your Solana bag into that, for then it to dump like 20%. Let's just see how much that dump is. That dump, well, from the peak, all right, 14%. It dumped 14% in the space of what, 6 hours? That's a lot. That's a lot. Because of a pump and dump news, it's not worth it. So that's the point I'm trying to make. You need to stay, or not financial advice. What I do is I stay in my positions, but I try to anyway, to the best of my brain power, before I can just, and I try not to trade it anymore. Well, I do sometimes, but when it comes to examples like this, I don't do that. If I do like a normal pair trade of just making profit, that's different. And then buy back in when it's lower, when you know it's going to come back down. When I say I know, because if it's overextended, then you know it's going to come back down. But for news-related things like a pump and dump news, to rotate your bag that's very similar to the other, not worth it. It's not worth it. Unless you have insider information prior, or you know it's going to be announced, then maybe. But even then, it's still dangerous and risky. But yeah, you could do that if you want to make a quick buck. But, you know, holding the bag that you believe in, and you know that's going to do at least a 5 to 6x or more, then you know that you may as well just hold on to it and just wait, and don't have the bother of just trading it. Because realistically, when you do these trades and you make a profit, what do you do with that stable coin? You don't do anything with it other than get back in to something else or the same thing. So making the trade, in this stage of the cycle, right? Making the trade to do that ultimately is a waste of time, just for what, 5%, a 5% move for just a quick buck. I mean, depends on what you want to do. If you want to do that and then take it off and then do whatever you want in real life, then fine. But if you're just going to be playing and trading with the markets, I don't think it's really worth it for that. That's me personally. That's just my take. And with that, when you chase pumps, going on to the next point, is we really, should be chasing the dumps. I mean, the greatest feeling, right, I have sometimes is when I do that. I chase the dumps. Like when something's like absolutely nuking, like for example, Solana or Jupiter, the last 2 months has been horrible. But if you buy more when you know, well, you don't know, no one ever knows. I keep saying when you know. When I say when you know, all I mean is like when it's sort of confirmed, we're not going to go much lower, sort of thing. So when you know it's not going to go much lower, then you sort of buy in, right? Keeping in mind the price of Bitcoin. And if you follow me, you know I'm trying to get into Bitcoin 100%, but I'm trying to bring my average down on my alts so I can get out when the bull peak alt season comes, whenever that is. I reckon that will come when all those things I mentioned at the beginning, such as, QE, rate cuts, money supply gets a bit pushed up higher. That's when those things sort of trickle in and take effect. That's when we'll get a bit more of an alt season. We're sort of coming down on Bitcoin dominance now, which is good to see. But that's because Bitcoin's been acting like a stable coin. Therefore, people rotate into alts. That's how Bitcoin dominance comes down, when it just flattens out a bit. So yeah, that's what isn't like I said. There's no better feeling than jumping into something that's absolutely on the floor, looks like it's dead, for it to then have a bit of a relief rally, and then stabilize where it was before. We're nowhere near that on alts right now. Nowhere near. Bitcoin has to do a thing or two. But when you buy in low like this, and you make the decision to do it, and that decision pays off, it's such a good feeling. I did that with MicroStrategy as well, when it was at like about a week ago or two, when it was under 250, and now it's over 280, because Bitcoin dropped down to 76. I didn't buy in then. I bought in before that, when it was at like 78, 79. But still, right? Good deal. Yeah. Do you know, some YouTubers don't understand how MicroStrategy sort of works, in a sense. So the easiest way to describe it is, when you see Bitcoin dump, MicroStrategy will dump. If it pumps, MicroStrategy will pump. It's extremely correlated to the price of Bitcoin, because it is basically leveraged Bitcoin. That's all you need to understand. You don't need to understand anything else about it. And then some YouTubers are saying like, "Oh, why is MicroStrategy down? It's down so much today. Oh, look, Bitcoin's down today. What a surprise!" And it's just like, oh, really? But of course, all stocks are correlated, right? All stocks right now, like the S&P, Bitcoin is literally right now, when it's trading hours, is pegged to the S&P 500. It's crazy. I've never seen this much correlation before, and I know it's because of what's going on, but I didn't think it would be correlated this much. So when the S&P moves, we'll see a move in Bitcoin for sure, because it is so correlated. Like when it's market open hours, have a look at the S&P 500, and have the Bitcoin chart next to it, or just have it on your watch list or whatever, and just look at just look at like the minute chart. You don't even need to do that. Just have it on whatever time you want, but you can just see how they move together completely. Crazy. Never used to be like that completely, like almost 100% correlated, almost most of the day. You'll see if you have a look. All right. So next point I want to touch on. I know this is really getting a bit of a long video now. These are 3 points I was thinking about last night, so I wanted just to touch on it. So another point is, in terms of learning what to take into the next cycle, if you're still around crypto at that time, is there's if you look at the last cycle, and you look at how many meme coins there were, what was there, 2? Doge and Sheep. That was it. And then you look at this cycle, and there's like a bazillion of them. And there's all these different projects and everything else. So what we have learned is because there's so many projects, there's so many meme coins now, so many, that compared to last cycle, that the liquidity, the money getting pumped into these projects is so thin compared to last time, where it was so concentrated before, right? So if you look at like, you could just name like 50 meme coins. If you really wanted to, you could probably name about 25. If you stopped and had a think, you could name about 25 meme coins that reached over like 200 million market cap, for example. You probably could. if you just sat down or you just went through the memes and you're like, oh, yeah, I recognize that, recognize that, recognize that. It's nuts, right? So the point is, the liquidity diluted into each coin from each individual person is spread too thin compared to last time Sheeb and Doge, or, you know, Aave and Uniswap. Compared to now, you've got Jupiter, you've got Cloud, you've got DeepBook, you've got Cetus, you've got so many sort of corresponding projects. They all correspond with each other in what they offer. You've got so many different renders now. You've got Nosana, Render, you've got a few others as well, very similar. You've got all these different projects, and they're doing terribly, right? Only a select few are still holding up somewhat. Like Nosana at its peak was $7, roughly. I'm not even looking at the chart. It's now 76 cents. I mean, come on. This was like a year ago. Literally a year ago today. I think the price was like $7. I remember it was like February, March time. Oh, dearie me. Anyway, so point with that is next time, what we need to do is, or even now, this is the opportunity to do it now even, is to go into projects that are in the top 100 or top 60, 70, right? Because that is where the money is going to be made. Not in these $100 million or under market cap projects that are going nowhere. And you're getting hopium in the Telegram chat when marketing, when listing, right? All that. Oh, look at this bull pattern on the chart, and you screenshot. You know, you see it every time. Every time you go into a Telegram chat, there's a picture of a chart, and it's gonna 20x, right? You living the dream in the Telegram chat. Telegram chat is your hopium. So you're gonna get that everywhere with all these projects and memes. If you've noticed, the top performers are in the top 20 this cycle. The top performer in the entire market has been Bitcoin, because it stayed where it's meant. It stayed above. Right now, I mean, it's at 83,000. Whereas all these meme coins, and not meme coins, sorry, all these altcoins, I'll put them all together, they are at their price in like 2020, right? Before things kicked off. You could say that's coming next. Alts are going to kick off next. Maybe. But we need to be in those projects that are going to be the winners. And not chase. This corresponds with other points I made before. Not chase the pumps. Not chase the new projects. Don't go on YouTube and find some new project and then think, oh, person is saying it's going to 20x by November. If I get in now, I can still make money. I can do this. You know, don't do it. Stick with the projects that you're in and don't trade them, because when you sell the project you're in, the good altcoin, right, then you just mentally know in the back of your mind, it's there in the back of your mind. As soon as you sell, in about a week's time, that project is going to go up 25%. It always happens. As soon as you sell, it pumps. As soon as you buy, it dumps even more. It's just the nature of markets, because, you know, the price 50% of the time is going to go one way. So you have to just prepare for that. But ultimately, all I'm saying is stay with the winners that you're in, and don't be shaken out by this temporary dump. This is a massive correction that we're in. But with the points I've made, with everything going forward, with the tariffs hopefully soon getting a bit more clarity, and the conversation of it just disappears, evaporates soon. I know every other day there's a new tariff law coming in, but soon it's going to get so boring, right, that the market soon enough probably won't react like it did before. It probably won't. Also, these altcoins, some of them are getting ETFs soon. Oh, another point, I made a tweet about this. You know, like Solana, XRP, Doge, Chainlink, they're all getting Litecoin. They're all getting these ETFs, right? So this is the first initial wave of ETF pumps, apart from Bitcoin, right? This is the first altcoin wave that we're going to get, or apart from Ethereum as well. Forget Ethereum, literally. We're going to get a pump from the news, and then we're going to get a dump, right? And then we're going to get the buys come in. Maybe. I mean, Ethereum was a joke. And we got news yesterday, or the day before, that the Solana futures didn't take off very well. But that's not surprising. You know, everyone really wants Bitcoin, but given the market cap of Solana compared to Bitcoin, it's going to be lower anyway, like meaning the demand. And the same applies with the ETFs going forward when they buy. It's not going to be as big as obviously Bitcoin or Ethereum. It's just going to be smaller. It's just how you have to expect that because it's Solana. It's not Bitcoin or Ethereum. Like even my close friends know what Ethereum is now, but they don't know what Solana is. So that's how you know. It's a bigger name at the moment. That's the best way to say it. At the moment, Ethereum is still a bigger name, but we know it's dead. Anyway, you know, we're going to get those pumps for those coins when the ETFs get approved, right? Yay, we got it. You know, pump, then dump. But in 2 years' time, say when number 50 altcoin on CoinMarketCap gets approved, yeah? Or number 20 or 30, whatever. Let's have a look. I'll give you an example. Let me name a crypto so you get the idea. All right, let's say NEAR or ICP. I'm just on it right now. Or Aptos. Yeah, let's just say NEAR, ICP, Kronos, Celestia. Let's say those, right? Let's say they get approved. The returns for the ETF, they're going to be smaller in terms of the news and the pump. You're going to get very diminishing returns, is the best way to describe it, for that news pump and dump effect. It's not going to be the same as Solana and XRP and Doge and Litecoin. I don't know why Litecoin. But you see what I mean? Like this ETF game, this approval of ETFs and the pumps for that, it's going to get so much smaller. Because it's like I mentioned before, like with how all these coins now are getting such thin liquidity. It's the same is going to apply with that, with the ETFs. And it's just going to trickle down and down and down. That's my opinion anyway. I could be completely wrong. Who am I to predict the future? But that's how it sort of feels like what's going to happen. And it's just going to become old news in a way. Like, oh, you get an announcement like, I don't know what, Celestia's got an ETF. And it's just like, okay. Compared to Solana's been approved or XRP's been approved, it's like, wow, an altcoin's been approved. And then that becomes the norm. See what I'm saying? In like a year or two. That's my little chat today. And I would listen to, one other thing, I would listen as well. And you might not be a Bitcoin maxi, but go on YouTube and just type in Bitcoin podcast. And you can listen to people's conversations, like YouTubers, but Bitcoin maxis, right? You don't have to be a Bitcoin maxi to listen to it, but just to understand what's going on with the economy, they talk a lot about it. Money supply, what's going on with the government, what's going on with the supply of Bitcoin, how it's, you know, a finite supply, how we've only got a certain amount of time to get these returns, those sorts of things. Really good to listen to for, you know, the mindset, especially in times like this. If you're feeling down mentally about your finances because of this, it's a really good sort of wake up call and, you know, a pick me up for your mindset. It really, really is. I couldn't recommend it enough. Yeah, there's loads of them. There's loads of people just talking, some to themselves, to their chat, or just some in a group, like on like a group of 4. There's a few. Anyway, so yeah, that's all I have today, really. Yeah, I think I think that's it. Can't think of anything else I wanted to say. Yeah, no, I think that's it. All right, well, I hope you've taken some points from that. Let me know what you think. If any of that made sense to you, if you can see what's coming, if you know, if you sold, if you're still in the market, or if you sold, you're probably not watching this. But all right, well, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.